Hello again. This is John Bush from the War Room with a workbench tip. Now we all obviously work on guns or we wouldn't be here. Many times you might have a tool from Brownell's or one you made yourself to do a specific job. Now most military weapons were either issued with or supported by lots of tools. Some of these tools, you can substitute something else and get the job done. Sometimes, though, that military tool does the job faster, quicker, without scratching, damaging parts, all of that. Now, I'm going to start with some simple ones, and we're going to go through and I'm going to show you a bunch of tools. Now, first, I'm going to show you what looks like a big nut. Okay, now, this particular nut is Canadian. They machined it out for use of removing a flash hider on the L1A1 rifle. Now, this slot here goes on the bayonet lug. So when you unscrew it, you're not clamping it from the outside, you're not marring it, it's just right on that lug and it removes it fine. And you could probably make this at home. This happens to be a Canadian one, they actually issued them. Now also for the L1A1, they had combo tools. I'm going to show you two types. This tool is what's referred to by collectors as the flat tool for the L1A1. Now you can see it's got various screwdriver tips, and it has a notch here which is used to adjust the gas on the FAL because the FAL's got adjustable gas. You've got a slot here which is used to adjust the front sight. This slot will go over the front sight and go up and down. Now what about that extractor? Well, on this one they have a tiny pin that sticks through and there's a hole in the extractor. So when you put that in, you can pull it back and disassemble the bolt that way. Now the other tool is similar, but it has an addition. It has an adapter to go into the cleaning rod. Now there are differences between the US and the Brits, and this is one of them. Notice this is a male thread because all their stuff is backwards. Or maybe ours is backwards. I'm not sure who started this first, but that's how it works. Now this one has the pin to remove the extractor on the end, which I kind of like better because it gives you more tool to hold on to. It also has the cutout to adjust the gas. Great gun, nice tools, easy to find. They're reasonably inexpensive, you know, $10 or so for the tools. And they do the job pretty good. You know, there is an expensive tool to remove the extractor, but if you don't need it and you're not going to do a lot of guns, you can get away with these. Now, talking about the gas system on the FAL, you have a ring tool. This happens to be Israeli. You have a scraper with sharp edges that can go into the gas ports and the cylinder area and clean it out. And you've got a long, thin one that can go through any of the gas port holes and clean them up. So it's a nice tool to have. And you don't have to look around for the right drill or anything else. This does the job. And they're inexpensive. They're usually under $10. Now, this is characteristic of a lot of tools. This is a flat screwdriver. This one happens to have one nut in on it. There's a Springfield. There's any number of other guns that have basically a flat folding screwdriver. Nice for collecting, but you got screwdrivers, right? You don't necessarily need it, but it is handy. This one happens to be for the Remington Lee. There's probably more tools than there are Remington Lee rifles. So these things are not really expensive. They're usually under $10. Now what about the 45? We all love the 45. So the 45, you originally had this tool. This is a Colt one. It's not marked Colt because Colt was the only company making them early. When the war started, they went away from the blued and they went to a Parkerized tool. You'll find these with Stanley mark, the same trademark you find on a saw or on a plane, any of those kind of things. You've got the end. You can punch out the mainspring pin, drop the mainspring housing. You can even use the screwdriver to take the grips off. So it's pretty good. What about that magazine catch? That's a tiny little sucker. Well, you can actually use the mainspring. The tit on the mainspring will fit the mag catch and you can pop it right out. That old John Moses Browning was not a dummy when it came to designing guns. Now when we went to the AR-15, you needed a torque wrench to determine the torque on the nut that held the barrel into the receiver. Now, this tool right here, you got a nice square. That's for your torque wrench, lug wrench, however you're going to use it. The pins locked into the ring so you could turn the ring, and you had the other cutouts for the other things on an AR-15 that you actually needed to do. Now, these are in various forms. There's a lot of aftermarket tools like this. Some of them they call the universal tool. I'm not sure what else you can use it for, but it's got all kinds of openings and arms and everything else. And they're, you know, the commercial ones, maybe 30, 35 bucks. Okay, this one you can tell your wife about, because instead of using the edge of the table to take apart that Mauser bolt, this is an Israeli Mauser bolt tool. It's a lot better than the ones the Germans made. No political content there. It just is how it is. This has a hole for the back of the bolt, the cocking piece. You have a cutout right here that fits the cocking piece. So when you put this on the bolt, you have a lot of control. You don't need to work on the side of the table anymore. You can do it in your hand. These you find anywhere around 15, 20 bucks, and it's a good tool, and I don't see how you could wear it out. I mean, I really don't. Now, some specialized tools. This for the Swedish K submachine gun, and a lot of people really like that Swedish K. The front sight has 2 holes in it, and those 2 holes match up with this tool right here to turn it. There's a spring, a big leaf spring that goes through there. Now, Brownell's makes a tool that has 2 pins, and the distance between them is adjustable. So not only would it work for a Swedish K, you could use it on a lot of different applications where they have those nuts and bolts with just the 2 holes in them, but various distance. So instead of having just one tool that does a very specialized job, you got a tool that can use it all the way across the board, and frankly, it makes it a lot easier. Taking 2 small pin punches, putting them in the hole, putting a screwdriver between them to turn them, that's difficult. This tool here is, you know, probably 10, 15 bucks. The Brownell tool, I think, is about 40 some bucks now. I've had mine for years, and when I need it, it's the best tool to do the job. It really is. Now, if you're a British soldier and you unfortunately have a case separation, what are you going to do? With a case separation with no base on the case, you can't push a cleaning rod down the muzzle. It'll go right on through. There's nothing for it to grip against. So this tool was made by the Brits. Now you can see, I'm going to try to hold this so you can see these sharp serrations. Okay, you have it on this side and the other side. So when you put this in the chamber and then you grip it like you would naturally, it squeezes those out, grabs the case, and you can wiggle it and get it on out. This worked both on the Bren and on the Sten. It's a really handy tool, and there's nothing commercially that I know of that's made like this that's so simple, quick, and easy to do. If you're at the range and you got a case separation and you want to shoot some more that day, you got to have some kind of a tool. These are harder to find. They're probably about 40 bucks. But you can also, if you know the caliber of gun you're going to shoot, you can get a tap that will bite into the brass, not the chamber, and screw that in. Then you can use your cleaning rod and knock that case out. Done it a lot of times. It doesn't hurt the chamber or anything else, but you got to make sure you got the right tap for the cartridge you're shooting. Now the Enfield rifle, both the number 1 and the number 4, they have a firing pin that has half circle cuts in it, which you can see here match up with these. Okay, so the firing pin tip goes in the hole. These 2 lock around the firing pin on the outside edge where those half moon cuts are, and you can unscrew it, no problem at all. It's held in by a screw at the back, so this tool has a screwdriver blade to take that off. And because it was originally made for the number 4, you have the reverse screw on the other side of the handle, so you can adjust the front sight. Now this one happens to be a Savage tool, and it's marked with a Savage square S, just like all the guns were and all the parts that Savage made. Most of these probably ended up on the bottom of the ocean because the submarines from Germany were doing havoc. Now the cost on this tool, this particular tool style, they're about 40 bucks. Parker Hale made a tool, very serviceable. The shaft was longer and the handles had no features on them. They were just a handle. Numrich made one for a while out of revolver cranes, but they're just too thin to do the job. You need a tool that has substantial tips on it to work on that firing pin. Now you will find some that instead of being rounded to match the firing pin are square. They're made in a different fashion, but these work. And if you need to take that firing pin out, you don't have a lot of options. You know, you can't whoosh it out of that bolt. You got to have some kind of a tool. Now, homemade tools, you know, we've all had to make them at one time or another. At one time, we had a couple of hundred grands that had been shot with either mud in the muzzle or water, and the muzzle swole up in the front. Not a ring, but just swole up in the front. What that caused was we couldn't get the gas cylinders off. So we took a gas cylinder plug, welded it to a rod, made it a slide hammer so we could get those off. Once they were off, we'd turn the barrels down, rethread them, put the guns back together, and they'd work fine and shoot fine. But sometimes you got to make a tool, and if you have to make a tool, you know, make it good enough just for the whole time you may use it. Not the one time you're going to use it, because the next time you need that tool, you're going to say, man, I wish I'd have made that tool better, and where is it? So not only make it good, keep track of it. Now, some guns, U.S. guns especially, they have user-level tools, and they have direct support, they have depot tools, and all those kind of tools. Now, on the carbine, it has a spring in the back that you have to compress through a hole to catch the trigger, and it bears against the other part of the trigger housing. So to get that out, they built this tool, and there's actually a couple styles. Some of them are all brass, some are steel, some have a longer shaft here, some have a longer shaft on this end. But it is truly a handy tool. Now, before the tool was developed, there was a World War II magazine called the Ordnance Sergeant, which published all kinds of articles on how to take care of stuff, how to do this, how to tighten your tracks. They were the ones who said you take fired cases from a carbine, you can use one case to do the firing pin, and two cases to remove the extractor and firing pin. You had to pound the mouth of the empty case of one of them down, and then you use the other one. But it's not a nice job. It's a hard job. So they developed the carbine bolt disassembly tool. Now it has two pawls, one on each end. One is solid, one is got a slot in it. The slot goes around the plunger for the extractor, locks onto it, so you can take it apart. Because anybody who's ever taken apart a carbine bolt, you know, you can launch those parts and every one of them is concrete soluble and you'll never find it again, especially if you're out in the field. Now this tool, run about 50 bucks. If you only got one carbine and you don't work on it that often, you really probably don't need this tool. But if you're going to work on more than one carbine, and you may do several in a year, this tool will pay for it. It'll pay for it in save time, and you don't have to replace parts that you've lost. It's a really nice tool. Very seldom do you have any problem with them. Once in a while you can break one of the tits, but they're available. You can buy just this cam part right here without a problem. So if you're going to work on carbines, it's pretty much an indispensable tool, and nobody I know makes as good a tool. Now there are reproductions of this tool, and you can usually tell them by the type of nut they used. It's not the World War II style lock nut, but even those work fine. But an original's going to run you about 50 bucks. Now, anybody who's pulled a front sight off of a gun, it sometimes can be a bear. You can hammer on it with a dead blow hammer. You can do all kinds of things. Now this is for the carbine, but the basic design can be adapted to a lot of different guns. You can see we've got a recess here for the barrel, and we've got a cut right here for the key that's in the sight. So what this does, it goes over, and you can see you got a crank, and it just pulls that sight off like nobody's business. I mean, it's simple and straightforward. This is a repo. They made originals, but this is a repo, and I've used this one for years, and I can't even tell you how much time it saved me and how many sights it saved me that I don't have to repair because I pounded on it to do something, okay? Now, this tool for the carbine is expensive. I'll be honest, it's probably 200, 250 bucks, but there's nothing that'll do the job. The gas piston and cylinder on a carbine is not that easy to get at. So what you've got, this tool locks on the receiver. You've got the head right here that locks with the nut. This allows you to remove the nut without the wrench slipping and rounding off the corners. When you've got it out, this pulls out of this tool and you insert the tap. The tap goes in, cleans the threads up. That's why it's called a gas cylinder reconditioning tool, because that's what it does. And frankly, if you've got to do it, I've saved barrels that somebody has messed with, they've messed the nut up, there's any other issues that they've developed while they did it. So what you've got here is a tool that'll correct it. It's not inexpensive, and the way the collectors are trying to find them, the price is high and they don't last long on eBay or Gunbroker or any of those. But if you're going to work on carbines, it's an indispensable tool. I don't know of anybody that makes a suitable copy that's really decent, usable, and will last for you. But you know how it says, you pays your money, you takes your choice. But in this case, it's an original tool, it does a job. And if you take care of it, it's not going to lose value. It's only going to become worth more. So, you know, think hard on that one.